What is up, guys? It's Flash, back with some more charts, another video. It's Thursday, June 12th, about 9:08 p.m. Eastern. Apologies I haven't posted this week, not until Thursday. I usually try to get a video out earlier in the week and then one later in the week. Been a little bit busy, taking care of some things. It's almost the end of Q2 here, and not a whole lot has changed price action wise, right? If even we've gone down a little bit, which is a little bit sad, but I'm here to kind of help us zoom out a little bit, again, see the bigger picture, which I often like to do, and we're going to go through these charts. So here we got the power law indicator, rainbow wave indicator. We got Bitcoin. I'm currently recording this, and Bitcoin has fallen from the past couple days at like 110K. Now we're down to like 103K. What seems like a big pullback, right? When you're in the moment, when you're looking at the hour by hour chart, when you're watching the tape just tick and tick. But when we zoom out, this is, I think, very normal behavior. It's nothing we haven't seen before. And when we're on the weekly time frame, especially, and we put this into perspective, like, man, this thing is just so powerful when you just take a step back and you just kind of, for me, it's just like simplifying things. Like, hey, it's as easy as just buying Bitcoin and you don't even have to look at a chart. Like, it'll just take care of you, right? So that's kind of the idea here. I have that target of $1 million, Monday, April 25th, 2033. So we'll see if we get there. We'll see if we hit it sooner. We'll see if we hit it later. But as long as I'm around, I'm going to try to keep following the charts and posting for you guys. So I'm also thinking about putting together like a daily video, every morning, maybe at like 7 or 8 a.m. Eastern. So if you guys are interested in that, drop me a like, drop me a comment. Maybe we can put a fun comment in the chat here. Drop me a hell yeah, brother, if you're interested in maybe a daily video, a daily package. All that fun stuff. Let's just get into it, right? So we'll zoom in again. This is another perspective, right? Same exact chart, just on the regular scale. Like, this thing literally goes off the chart, So this is just that peace of mind that, hey, this is probably going to continue working out. It's the hardest money mankind has ever seen, and I think it's going to continue gaining traction. So here we're zoomed in here onto the daily time frame. You see we have a score of 76 out of 100 thanks to Colin Talks Crypto's indicator. I still have my target here up here, 200K plus, probably before the end of this year. I'm thinking, again, could go higher, could go lower. You can see the dip here in price action. This is just, a blip on the radar. I don't think it's much to be concerned about. If we overlay M2 here, we're still working with that 95-day offset, guys. I'll try to find the highest 30, 60, 90-day correlation. And right now, for its 95 days, the highest 30, 60, 90 average is 66.5%. So that's what I'm going to continue rolling with for the time being. I try to line up this right here, I try to line up right here, and I try to line up right here. So, I'm not sure where this price is going to go per se. Be great if we continue to follow it. But again, we are deviating. The last 30 days, we have deviated from the 95-day offset, but the 60 and 90 days still has a pretty high correlation, right? We can also overlay gold. We can push the price of gold forward by 90 days, has a stronger correlation. Still a deviation, right? But we're still like pretty much on track, I would say. When we put them both on the chart, again, slight deviation, people could be a cause for concern. I'm going to keep following these offsets until maybe it doesn't make sense to anymore. So there are times when it won't stay as correlated. This could be one of them. We could be starting that, I don't know. I just like kind of overlaying it. I like looking at it. I like presenting it to you guys. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I need to get a different hobby, because when we dive into MSTR, the overlay is kind of, doesn't necessarily work as much right now. But this is Bitcoin. This is the king. This is what we need to be focused on, I think. And so I also just took I think this is the 30-day moving average in yellow. And then I took the moving average of the global M2. And again, there's going to be some deviations. It's not going to be perfect, but when you look at the moving averages, it's like, man, this has been pretty spot on recently. And it's just going to take Bitcoin going to 120, 130K, 140K for us to be right back in line here. So weathering the storm, I think, is the theme of this video. Okay, so here's the rainbow wave indicator with Bitcoin, and then the pink line is MSTR. Again, just try to do my best lining everything up. This is a 0-day offset, so this is just the same price, MSTR on the daily, Bitcoin on the daily, right? So, $1,200 I think is pretty realistic if Bitcoin does make this move, right? So we're gonna find out. And then when we add all the lines on the chart, M2, price of gold, MSTR, and Bitcoin, it looks like I don't know, like bunch of crayon squiggles. So, but it looks pretty cool. It's like tie-dye. I don't know. But, these things they're generally correlated right now. I mean, it's not going to be day for day thing, but I mean, just kind of fascinating to follow. And again, it's my hobby. Maybe need to get a new hobby. All right, moving on. Power law, Bitcoin measured in gold. There's a power law versus gold, thanks to money or debt here. And the way I look at this thing, it's like big accumulation structures. We have a cup and handle pattern. Some of these didn't really have a handle. Maybe this was a little handle back in 2017. But this is like, we haven't even gotten started yet versus gold, right? And that's obviously because gold has been so strong. And so what I'm curious about is this power law model gonna continue to exist, as gold makes new highs after new highs, right? I think we're kind of in a new environment in terms of like, I've done a lot of reading, like comparing today to the 1970s and stagflation, and what does that mean for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500? They've often been so correlated with Bitcoin. So I think we're going to find out, like, is Bitcoin the real deal? Like, is it going to continue having a power trend, a power law versus another hard asset that is gold, right? That's been around for thousands and thousands of years. And I think it will. Like, I think it will. So the charts are going to tell us, right? So if this breaks down and maybe this doesn't go up, I think we'll kind of know, and we'll see that in the data. And again, I'll keep following along for you guys. Okay, next is MSTR measured in Bitcoin, right? Denominated in Bitcoin. And so this bowl shape, right? This is more just a guideline. Like, I'm not saying we're going to get to a 1-to-1 ratio, MSTR measured in Bitcoin. I'm not ruling it out per se, but this is just kind of a guideline. But it's really kind of held price nicely, especially recently, the last 5 years or so. You can see us kind of hugging this line, hugging this bowl. And I also saw this on X. I forget who it was, and I should cite them. But if we connect, this high down to this like little wick down here, like there's just 2 connection points, maybe 3 right here. But this is like, man, we could be on the cusp of something like incredible, I think. MSTR measured in Bitcoin. So just super interesting. And then if we zoom in, right, this is a very important ratio for me when we think about MSTR, the equity. MSTR measured in Bitcoin on the 12-hour. You guys know I've been following this, and we're pretty close. I want to say we can break out of this, right? I don't want to see this break down. I'm not saying it can't, right? I want to see this break out. I want to get above this orange line, above this gray line, and then there's kind of a horizontal zone here that I want to get through as well. But man, I feel like we're just on the cusp of something incredible. I don't know. I hope we are, right? So if we take the lines off, you can kind of see this is trying to, it's trying to make this move here. So I think we're going to find out. All right, here's MSTR in the 12-hour, and we have this little domed consolidation. You guys know I'm a fan of these curved consolidations, and to me, like, yes, I think this is a bull flag. It's only a bull flag if we break out, right? And so we kind of have this bearish flag as well here that, price is kind of being contained in this yellow consolidation, and, this could be a bearish look. So I want to present to you, both bullish and bearish takes. I want to be a little bit realistic. I know, I've been calling for $1,200 MSTR with a Bitcoin price of 150K. I still think that's possible, right? But, maybe it's not going to happen this July, or maybe it could. I don't know. But I think, this is kind of that beach ball being held underwater type of scenario too, right? Where if we break out of this blue bull flag, we could be off to the races and we could see something spectacular. Especially if we do stay consistent with this global M2 overlay, right? This is on the daily time frame, 65-day offset. The correlation is we've fallen off the table with global M2. There's no sugarcoating that. But, there are these periods where, like, right here, it really wasn't correlated. Like, I could probably line it up. But there are times where it's not correlated. But there are times, like right here, where there's this pocket of, like, there's this pocket of air. There's little pockets, right? And so, I wouldn't be surprised to see this white line, like, very quickly catch up to the orange line, to global M2. I think that is a possibility, and be prepared for the upside. But I think, going back to that bear flag scenario, be prepared for the downside as well. But I just want to present to you guys the data, what I'm seeing. We overlay gold, 61-day offset. Again, this is just a better correlation, right? We're following gold more so than we are M2 with both Bitcoin and MSTR. So I don't know. This is holding up still, but definitely deviating. Last 30 days, we've deviated a lot. So if we overlay both, it's just evident. But I do think, there could be a scenario where we just snap back up here. And I know I keep saying that, maybe it's too bullish of me, but again, maybe I should find a new hobby, but I'm going to keep looking at it. Here's MSTR on the log scale. Got this parabola here. And like, if we have these bands, they're going straight, right? They're up and to the right. And we're on the log scale. If we have straight lines, that's representing exponential price action. So when we have a parabola on a log scale, that's like way more than exponential. So, and this is that scenario, right? Like, we could I still see a path where Bitcoin resumes its bull trend. We get up to 150K, maybe 200K Bitcoin, right? And according to MicroStrategist's ballistic acceleration model, backed by data, right? I think we could see, higher prices for MSTR. That's the moral of the story. So I hate to beat a dead horse, but again, just following the data, following the trends. All right, let's get into some interesting ratios. This is MSTR measured in gold. So not measured in Bitcoin, measured in gold, another hard asset. And this is just like, a consolidation period, it looks like. So just got to let price action do its thing. And I still think, there's room here. There's blue skies ahead. I want to think so. MSTR measured in silver, right? Beautiful trend line here. I mean, it just matches, like, even the mid section of this trend line is just spot on. It's beautiful. So there is, like, you kind of have that cup and handle look and feel to it, perhaps, which would then, ignite a run hopefully into September, October, November of this year. MSTR measured in silver. And then I also included MSTR measured in MSTY with dividends reinvested in MSTY. I want to make that clear. I'm a big fan of MSTY, like the income generation ETF. Like, that is it's pretty cool. They pay out some big dividends, and I think that's great. But I will say, like, this is trending up and to the right, meaning if you just hold on to MSTR, you're going to outperform MSTY even if you reinvest your dividends, right? So I know a lot of people don't like that idea, but it's different, right? Like, MSTR is a growth equity. MSTY is an income ETF, right? They serve different purposes. So, maybe this chart is a little bit unfair, but it's just the data. MSTR is outperforming MSTY with dividends reinvested. Now, there is something to be said. Hey, maybe you hop in MSTR when it's breaking out, right? And you ride that up. And then if it stays in these channels, it's going to be hard to predict, right, in real time. But, there is something to be said for maybe rotating into MSTY, in these consolidation periods, receiving that dividend on a monthly basis, and then, maybe jumping back into MSTR, resuming its uptrend. So I don't know. I thought it was an interesting chart. Thought you guys might like it too. And then again, this thanks to LA Dodger. I think we just got to weather this storm, guys. Price action's been a little bit choppy, a little bit boring. Just got to let things play out and stay patient. So drop me a like if you guys found this helpful. Hope everyone has a great weekend. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.